Hopefully most of you saw Steve's presentation first thing this morning, because he said pretty much exactly what I'm going to say, so it's going to save me a lot of time. Quickly about Hollaroo. So I'm the CEO of Hollaroo. We've got 3 products, referrals, talent pipelining, and also onboarding. I'm just going to focus on referrals, and hopefully I'm also going to talk a bit about GDPR, because that is going to be the big subject for the next 8 months. As Steve said, and as we just heard, referral hires are great. They are more productive, they're faster to hire, they're faster to perform when they join the company, they stay longer in the company. One of the things that most people might not be aware of is research is now showing that referrals actually help promote diversity in organizations. So if you've got a diversity challenge in your organization, employee referrals is the way to go. So the question is, why don't we do more? Or as somebody else put it, why are referral programs the problem child of your strategy? And we think there are 2 reasons. So the first one is employees are not recruiters. It sounds fairly straightforward. They know great people, that's definitely sure, but they don't know how to match jobs and candidates. That's not their job. And also, they've got much more important things to do. They've got a full-time job, so if you're asking them to do a recruiter's job as well, that's not really going to work out. So the big question is, they're not recruiters, why do we make their lives so hard? Second point is that their contacts are valuable. So when you're dealing with a referral, you're dealing with 2 relationships. You're dealing with the relationship between you and the candidate, but you're also dealing with the relationship between the candidate and the employee. And so if you mess it up, if you give them a bad experience, it's twice as damaging as if you had a bad candidate experience from somebody who came externally. So their referred people are the same as any talent. 2/3 of them are not actively looking for a job at the moment. So if you invite them into some sort of application process, or you ask them to update their CV or upload a CV, that's going to put them off. And worse still, if they come into your standard selection process and it doesn't work out for them, they're going to have a poor experience. They're going to feed that back to the employee who referred them in. Is that employee likely to refer somebody else in? Probably not. So we think if you want your employee referral scheme to work out well, you have to think about how you're treating the people who are coming into the scheme. So we've built Hollaroo Refer around these 4 points. So the first one is make the process as simple as possible, and tied into that is the concept of anytime referrals. So the idea that you ask your employees to make a referral, don't wait for the right job to be published, don't wait for that person to tell you that they're ready to move into a different role. You can refer them at any time. And then from the admin side, automate everything. So referrals, again, one person won't know one person knows several people, so it's very likely that a referred person coming into your program knows more than one employee, and quite often it's a bit of a team effort getting them in, so if you're tracking everything, you can manage that. And then the engagement, the automated engagement, is both on the side of the employees, so like keeping them aware of the scheme, keeping them engaged, telling them about where your challenges are. And then on the talent side, if you're doing anytime referrals, so you've got people coming in who aren't yet ready to apply for a job, you need a way to keep them warm, keep them engaged, potentially over a very long period of time. So we've been doing this for quite a while now, and I'll show you later on, we've got some proven results to show that it all works. So quick look at the system. So the referral process is 3 steps. So the first step is telling your employees about the program. Second step is them inviting people in. Third step is your talent joining. So I'll go into those in a bit more detail. So from the point of view of notification, this is all automated. So once a month, people get notified about the scheme. You can highlight areas that you want to focus on. So if there are areas that you know you're struggling with, or you're launching a big campaign, you can enlist your employees to help with that. But the key question is, do you know somebody good? Doesn't matter if you can't see a job at the moment. Doesn't matter if you don't even know whether that person's looking for a job. Just invite them in. The invitation process, simple as possible. So this is the mobile example, which is basically just put in somebody's first name, last name, email address, you're done. We can give people out QR codes, we can let them post out onto their social networks, but the point is that's all the employee has to do, and then they can go back and do their day job instead. And then from the talent's perspective, they get a nice invitation. It's unique, so this is how we can track. So if two people refer the same person, we can tell which one they responded to. Because it comes from somebody they know, and because it's, it's a message around, we want to start a conversation, as opposed to, here's a job we want you to apply for. We get, across the board, 75% acceptance rate to those invitations. And then when somebody accepts an invitation and comes into the network, that's where you get your informed consent. And when I talk about GDPR, that's when you'll understand how important that part is. And then quickly to look at it from a talent's perspective. So this is one of our clients. I thought it was good to show you a client system just because you can see how much control you've got over the look and feel, the branding, all of the color scheme, all of the content is entirely yours. You own the data. And then the other thing to point out is that it's not just about jobs. We feed in a blend of jobs, news, other content about the organisation, and that's all about the idea that potentially this person, not ready to apply for a job now, but as long as you treat them well and as long as you give them control over the experience, they're happy to stay engaged, potentially for 1 year, maybe 2 years, before the timing's right, they're ready to move, the right jobs available, and they come into the organisation. So I said I'd show you some results. So this is, again, across the client board, typically minimum of 5 times as many referrals as you would get with a traditional program. Key point, this doesn't reduce the quality of the referral. So again, across the board, 1 in 4 of the people who apply via referral get hired. So compare that to any other channel, fantastically high quality of talent. And then the point about the long-term relationship. So we've got clients who've been using the systems for more than 6 years now, and 20% of their hires are coming from people that they've been engaged with for more than a year. So they were invited in, been kept warm, and then they hire them. And again, because it's referrals, you pay for the system within 6 months. So hopefully that gives you a whistle-stop tour of the system, and it's a great system, and you all want to know why. You obviously want to do it. Next question is, why do you want to do it now? And the answer is GDPR. So I've got 5 minutes to talk about GDPR. It's a big subject. Key things to remember: there's a date next year, which is the 25th of May. GDPR is actually in force at the moment, but on the 25th of May, that's when it's going to start being enforced by the regulator. So everyone's excited about sporting events next year. Your internal audit team are terrified about GDPR next year. I don't have time to tell you all about GDPR. I know a fair bit about GDPR, so if people want to talk about it later, more than happy to. 3 key concepts. So the first one's informed consent. So you need to be much more precise about what you're getting consent for, and therefore you need to justify how long you can keep data. So basically you can no longer have something that basically says, we'll keep your data for any sort of recruitment activities for as long as we like. That doesn't work anymore. Second point is user access and control, and this is actually the key theme of GDPR. Is it's all about giving the person much more power over their data. So basically, they must be able to see what data you've got on them. They must be able to correct any errors in the data you've got on them. You need to be able to delete their data if they ask for it. You need to be able to give them their data if they ask for it. And this is less about legislation. It's more about, you've got to think about, if 1,000 people all came in and said, I need you to remove my data, do you know where that data is stored? Is it on multiple systems? How easy would it be to comply with that request? And then the third point is about secure storage, which is much more tight rules about how you guard somebody's data. So the days of spreadsheets, hiring managers with piles of CVs on their desk, they need to end. Lots of this is kind of just a progression on from existing data protection legislation. The reason why everyone's getting excited is it's got big teeth. So there are fines of up to 20 million euros for non-compliance. And that's why your people are running down the corridors of your organization going, GDPR, because that is very, very scary for people. So some ideas about what you need to do. So the first thing is, you can't do nothing. If you sit there and just ignore it and hope it will go away, your CEO is going to be a bit upset when those big fines start arriving on his doorstep. This is a passive approach, if you like, just to get compliance, is get rid of all your talent pools. You can only keep data of people who are actively in the selection process for a role. tell everybody to destroy every single paper CV in the organisation, shut down your referral program. That would get you compliant, but it would also completely destroy your recruitment process, and you would be at the mercy of recruitment agents from then on. So what I like to say is, no, take this as an opportunity. You know how difficult it is to go back to your business and get, make the business case for investment. So here's your big reason for companies to change what they're doing. You can go back to your company, talk about putting in compliance systems, and at the same time put in better systems, make things work better. So I've already said specifically about referrals, Hollaroo is a much better system than any other way of doing referrals. But in the 6 key areas of GDPR, we tick all the boxes. So here's an example of where you can say, I want to get us GDPR compliant. Here's an example of how we do it. And by the way, it's going to make everything better anyway. So with my 1 minute left, 3 key points. So one is the clock is ticking. You've got until the 25th of May next year to do something about this. And these are systems, we have a very simple to implement system, but any system takes a fair amount of time to get in. So you probably need to be starting to think about it right now, and this probably needs to be one of your priorities for the next 8 months. But treat it as an opportunity, not a threat. The whole idea behind GDPR is actually really positive. It's about giving people ownership of their data and letting them control their data. So it's a good thing. So treat this as an opportunity and not as a big thing to be scared of. So you do things like pick out a system that is compliant, that does a better job, and implement it into your business processes, and then you've become compliant at the same time as doing a better job. That's all. Thank you very much.